Alma's recipe here. Welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to teach you guys how to make buñuelos. If you guys ever eat like churros, it has kind of that flavor, but this is flat. Usually we make these dishes in Christmas or New Year, and I used to make it with my mom and my sister. It brings me memories. So I decided to teach you guys how to make it. It's not very complicated. It doesn't need a lot of ingredients. It's really cheap also to make it. So let's begin. You need 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 cups of oil, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of salt, 1 cup of sugar, 1 cup of water, 1 tablespoon of cinnamon, 1 rolling pin. Optional, 4 tomatillos and maicena flavor powder. Alright, so I'm gonna start by explaining you the first step. This is optional if you wanted to use it. The only thing we can use is the skin. It's not necessary to use it, but does give you a little bit of levers when you start stretching the dough. If you have it, if you can use it, but if you don't, it's totally okay to skip it. That's how it looks. And like I said again, we only need the skin, and this one we do not need it. We can make salsa, so we don't waste it. So to this point, the only thing we need to do is kind of boil. When you want to boil, you want to boil 2 cups of water because it's gonna evaporate, just to have plenty of water. 2 cups of water. After I put the cup of water, just gonna put my skins here, and I'm just gonna let it boil for 10 to 15 minutes. So you're going to need 2 cups of flour, and I'm gonna just put it right here. You wanna make sure there's exactly 2 cups. You need 2 cups, and I have one already here, so I'm gonna put another one, but I also do tell you that you need 2.5 cups of flour. So this one you don't need to measure, but you do need to extra flour because this is the thing is gonna help us when we're gonna be working with our buñuelos. So you need 1 teaspoon of baking powder. You're just gonna put it there. Half a teaspoon of salt, so we just put it in there, and then we're just gonna stir it. So my water is already boiling for 10 minutes. So what I'm gonna do to this point, I'm gonna just turn it up and then like let it cool down. You want to let the water to cool down like lukewarm temperature, but I measure my water and my water is like 90 degrees. Doesn't have to be exactly. You want it to be able to touch it. It's warm, but it's not super warm. That is important too. Not cold, but not super hot. For sure you're gonna need 1 cup, but make sure you don't put all of them at once. Just put majority. So I'm gonna leave 2 ounces, and then from there I'm gonna see if I need the whole thing. So it all depends the temperatures. If I need it most, but most likely it's gonna be that, and then we measure from that point if I need more. And I think I do gonna need more. Depends on the weather. I'm just gonna leave a little less too, and I'm gonna keep stirring, and then we go from there. I think I do gonna need most, so I'm gonna keep putting more, and I'm just gonna leave a little less, you see. So make sure all your surface is clean. My surface has already been clean. I don't think so I'm gonna put the whole water. I'm gonna just leave really little. As you can see, it was my cup, and I just had like just very little. So that's why it's important for you when you put the water to leave 2 ounces and then go from there. Sometimes you might need the whole thing, and sometimes you might need just a little less, but right now this one is plenty. The thing that we need to do from here is just to bump the dough to make a mixture very soft. So we're gonna work it probably like around for 10 minutes. I'm gonna tell you a story. When I was growing up, when we used to make a lot of dough, like the whole packet of flour, and we made so many. By the end we were so tired, and when my mom was not washing, we had plenty dogs, so I used to feed the dogs so I can finish quickly. That's why I only make 2 cups. But the beauty, when I was little, we were too many women. Like my grandma, my mom, and my aunt, and we all gather on the table and we make the buñuelos. I have a lot of brothers and sisters. My mom has 11 children, so it's a lot of children. Okay guys, as you can see, look, I have my dough. It's really easy to work today. Somehow the weather is working with me, because you see it's not sticking in my hands. It's working really well. I didn't struggle with anything, you see, but it's really easy to work. You see how beautiful it is. So now the only thing the last lap to do is just put it in the bowl and let it rest for 10 minutes. You don't need more than that. And cover with plastic. It's very important that you cover, and then let it rest. The second step is preparing our sugar. Since I'm gonna make 2 different flavors, so I'm gonna make with cinnamon And I'm only gonna use half a tablespoon of cinnamon. So that will be for the one flavor. This one will be cinnamon. So this one will be my other half sugar. And I had two flavors here. You see, I have coconut and I have vanilla. So I think I'm gonna go with vanilla because more people like vanilla. But there's a lot of flavors up there. You can have strawberries and chocolate and all that stuff. I just picked those ones. And I'm only gonna use half of the packet. With this one, you can make atole. I'm just gonna combine everything together, and that's what the thing is gonna give you the flavor. The more traditional is the one with cinnamon. There's many ways you can make it. Some people do it with piloncillo. That's the thing that's gonna give the flavor to our buñuelo. And you see, if you do with cinnamon, you just wanted to make sure you combine everything together. So this one is already ready. Okay guys, so as you can see, it doesn't have a lot of ingredients. It's really cheap, very easy, and with the dough you can make a lot. This one is my rolling pin, and if you don't have one of these, you can use a bottle. I just give you an option and I show you how it works or whatever. So this is what I have. So I already have my dough ready here resting. But you don't need like a lot of dough, so probably you just need like 1 tablespoon of dough. You just want to do it just like that. Because if you make the thing really big, the thing will come really big. I don't know if you have like a big pan to make it, but this little bowl will make it quite big. So you want to make sure you cover with plastic. That is important, because when you cover with plastic, it's easy to work with the dough. So first you're going to put a little bit of flour here, and since you have your dough, you're going to do like squeeze it with your fingers, turn it the other way. Do this, can make sure it has flour all over. And after you have that, actually if you don't have one of these, you can use this, and what you're gonna do is just press it and go, and then take it and put it and squeeze it, and do this, and then press, put a little bit of pressure, push it, and then turn it and go. You gotta put a little pressure for sure. Make sure your things has flour so it doesn't stick in the bottom. I'm gonna teach you a trick that you can also make it. Some people make it with the knee. So you need something clean. You're gonna put it in your knee. So when you make the thing, you're gonna put it in here. You're gonna stretch it. It's one way, but I usually don't make it this way. I'll teach you another way you can make it, but this is basically you're gonna start pull it, put it in your knee, turn it, and then push it. You're not gonna have to push it too hard because you're gonna rip it, so you're gonna have to be gentle. The thing what we're trying to make this thing is just to make it skinny, like really thin. And the tomatillos, the skin for the tomatillo, that's what it helps to kind of have levers. But also if you put it too much, it's gonna rip. But it's really thin. You see, another way that I usually make, most of me, my personal myself. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put my bowl here and I'm gonna squeeze it here. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna roll it, then turn it, put the dough, and push it. Keep turning it around. The other way that you can do it, I usually personally, because this is how I used to do when I was little, I never put it on my knees. So what I do, just you see, I pull it, but gentle. You don't want to put it too hard. You see, pull it and pull it. But you can even put it in your hands and do this. So another trick that I learned, guys, and make it as much as I can with my roll, where I don't need to make it like completely big in the beginning. This is still a little bit thicker. This one is not completely done. But when I give it a couple minutes, it's easy to have the levers to pull it and to make it skinny. I can do it with my hand and then just pull it. Like I said, I can just pull it in my, you see, I can even just do this. Like when you let it rest for a little bit, or even you can just round, you see, so that when the edge doesn't get like really thick. And we wanted to make everything before we start frying it. Okay guys, so I'm done all my buñuelos. So definitely you need a little surface, like flat surface, like clean surface. Also my mom also told me another trick that I don't know. They said if you let it kind of like dry it a little bit, give it maybe like 20 minutes when you're done, just to kind of let it dry a little bit so it takes a little bit less oil. So we'll be back when we start ready to fry it. So I'm gonna preheat my pan medium heat, and I'm gonna add 2 cups of oil. You can add a little bit more, or you can add a little bit less, so it depends how big your pan is. I'm using canola, but you can choose whatever. So we're gonna just let it preheat. Alright guys, so I already had preheat my oil, and the way you know it is already hot, we need to have it pretty hot but not super hot. You put your spoon in there, and you see it makes bubbles, so that means it's ready to put my buñuelo. You see how I start my buñuelos? This is the first one that I do first, and then this is the last one. So I'm gonna start with my first one, and I let it like dry for like 20 more minutes after I'm done. So I'm just gonna put it in there, and what I'm gonna put, I need to put some oil. You have to be careful because the oil is gonna be really hot. So what I'm gonna just put the oil on top like that. I'm just gonna let it do for a few minutes. And when it's brown to one side, we're gonna flip it the other way, and we're gonna let it for a few seconds too. So when it's so nice and brown on both sides, you see this side and this side, we're gonna let it kind of drain a little bit of oil. This is really important. So remember, I prepared my sugar with cinnamon. So you're gonna add some sugar. As soon as you take it out of the pan, you're gonna have to put the sugar. So because it's hot, so the sugar is gonna stick into the buñuelo. So you're gonna have to be really careful when you put your buñuelo. You're gonna be just slow. What I always say, water and oil do not go together. So make sure, like when you put it, like you spoon in the oil, because the oil is super hot. Make sure it doesn't have any water. Alright guys, so that's it for this video. Hopefully guys now you know what it means. Buñuelo means. It's a recipe, very easy to make, doesn't take a lot of ingredients. It just takes a little bit of time, but it's worth it because it's very delicious, very addictive. Everybody will try those things, they will love it. So hopefully you guys will try, and wishing you guys all happy holidays. Adios, hasta la vista.